So putting the roof over, and that'll help the players as well, you know, because it's going to, the ball will be very, very true. There's not going to be any wind whatsoever. So I think we should get a very highly technical game this evening.
Underway in Atlanta here on TalkSport 2, live commentary from the FIFA Club World Cup. The first time the tournament has been expanded in this way. 32 teams will be halved to 16 for the knockout rounds. And both of these two, InterMiami and Porto, drew 0-0 in their opening matches. InterMiami held by the Egyptian side Al Ahly on opening night. Porto drawing 0-0 with Palmeiras. Both teams will want improved performances in Atlanta. Here is the big centre forward, the number 9 for Porto, Samu Agihawa, but he's lost possession. And now InterMiami looking to break from their own defensive third. They swing it across to Marcelo Weigand, who's one of two players who's come in to the starting 11 for this one. The other, Benya Kramaski, who is a young midfielder who's seen as a bit of a rising star. He's only 20. Kramaski, a US youth international. Here's Weigand being pressed by Francisco Moura. And they found Talasco Segovia skipping into the centre circle for InterMiami. All in pink, that kit that has sold so often around the world. Helps shirt sales if you've got Lionel Messi as part of your squad, of course. And here is the great man now, the number 10, onto his left foot. That buzz in the stadium, chips it into the area. Suarez with the shot on the stretch, and it's kicked away by Claudio Ramos, the goalkeeper, and the ball squirts behind. But the first glimpse of that Messi magic.
Yeah, very much so. We said, Kev, we wondered obviously if Suarez would be the focal point and stay up front. We've seen that already with Lionel Messi. That actually started, Kev, when InterMiami had the ball in their right back position. Frey did brilliantly because he was under a bit of pressure, had a good spin, and he got it into Busquets, puts it into Messi. Great little ball from Lionel Messi. It just looked like on the replay that Suarez might have just been offside, but he should be going with his left foot instead of his outside of his right foot. But really good build-up play from InterMiami with Messi actually floating and just going laterally across the pitch so he can find those little holes.
Remarkably, Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez played in the final of the Club World Cup 10 years ago for Barcelona against River Plate. Still going. Sergio Busquets, part of that squad. He's in the midfield. Jordi Alba, part of that squad. He's on the bench for this one. He's come back from a hamstring injury, but not fully fit. Here is Messi on halfway. Swift turn, and he feeds the ball to Weigand on the right-hand side. Forward it goes to Agende. And the attack breaks down on that right-hand side. We're going to see a lot of interchanges on the right. Tadeo Agende and Messi do tend to interchange a lot. When Messi comes into the middle, Agende goes wide and vice versa.
Yeah, we saw there with Agende and Weigand. Good interplay as well. And a couple of times Weigand's had the ball. The first look he's had, Kev, is to go forward. So you could just see that Javier Mascherano, the Inter-Miami manager, wants them to play with a bit of intensity, which they have when they've had the ball. They've looked to get it forward. Busquets has had a couple of touches just at the base of the midfield. So it's been a good start from Inter-Miami.
Porto in their traditional blue and white, playing from right to left as we look at it in this first half, and they've given away possession. Here's Messi, and he squeezes it through. Suarez on the move, but the goalkeeper again, Claudio Ramos, judged the danger, came flying out and smothered the ball.
Well, at the moment, Porto are not picking up Lionel Messi. Even for 5 minutes, maybe someone should go man-to-man. Maybe Varela should go and pick him up. Good starting position there from Claudio Ramos. The FC Porto goalkeeper just come out and smothered the ball.
Lovely switch by Fabio Vieira on loan from Arsenal, and then there was a challenge right on the edge of the area. The Porto player down in the box, and the referee unmoved as wave play on, but I wonder if that's going to be coming back as Segovia plays it out to the left-hand side for Inter-Miami. Suarez has come a little bit deeper, about 20 yards out inside left channel. Now Messi, inside right channel, works it in field, gets it back away from Rodrigo Moura, and then plays an angle ball to the edge of the area. That's cleared, and now Rodrigo Moura tries to bring it away for Porto.
I was just seeing things there, Kev, because it looked like it was Alan, the Inter Miami left back, who committed the foul, and as he was running off, he actually was doing he should be yellow carded signal as he was running, and the
making
ball
out with simulation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's actually asking for a yellow card in free play, but then he still managed to get himself in the left wing position. So we're just looking at the replay again, and to be fair, he has got a point.
Contact.
Yeah, but I think that with João Mario, there's nowhere near enough contact there for it to be a penalty.
The referee's going to go and have a look here.
Well, that means it's going to be a penalty.
That's usually how it goes. The referee's coming across to the monitor. There was contact between João Mario and the Inter Miami left back Noah Allen. He chopped in field, João Mario, and he's just trodden on his boot there, and he does get nowhere near the ball, so all eyes on the referee here.
After on-field review, the defender number 32 commits foul with tripping. Final decision is penalty kick.
So as you hear, the penalty is given. Noah Allen's the offender, and his request for João Mario to be booked for simulation fell on deaf ears, and it's got worse for him because Porto now have a golden opportunity to make it 1-0.
In this country, it would be referee's call, I think, because there was minimal contact there. Allen's foot actually went on the top of João Mario's boot, and as the players do these days, any little bit of contact, they go down. So maybe Allen was just trying to fool the referee to say that there was no contact whatsoever. So the VAR, Joan Lara, obviously has got involved and said to Christian Gary, come and have a look. And we know, Kev, as soon as he starts walking over, it's going to be a penalty.
That was it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think Noah Allen probably knew himself, because asking for the yellow card for simulation felt like panic to me. Now, Inter Miami survived a penalty in their opening game as Oscar Ustari made a stop against Al Ahly. Samu Agihawa, who scored twice against Manchester United in the Europa League last season, he has the responsibility. Hands on hips, that gold number 9 on his back. It'll be Samu Agihawa against 38-year-old Oscar Ustari, who will come out on top here. Deep breath for Samu Agihawa, the Spanish international. He steps up, right foot shot and goes in, and Porto have the opener. Ustari got a big right hand to it, couldn't keep it out, and Messi's men are in a hole early on. Inter Miami 0, Porto 1.
That was really unlucky from Oscar Ustari there, the Inter Miami goalkeeper, because obviously he read Agihawa the way that he was going to go, but from Agihawa's point of view, Kev, he made sure that he had a lot of purchase on it. He made sure that he actually, with his side foot, he went right through the ball, because if he doesn't hit it firmly, then Ustari saves it, because we see there it's actually gone underneath his right forearm. So the goalkeeper was really unlucky. Agihawa just keeps his cool, keeps his composure, and puts FC Porto 1-0 up.
It's worth bearing in mind what that does to the picture in Group A, because Palmeiras did beat Al Ahly earlier today 2-0. That means they're top of the group right now. Porto, as things stand, would go level on points with Palmeiras at the top of Group A, and it would leave Inter Miami needing to win their final game against Palmeiras to have a chance of going through. Here is Maximiliano Falcone, the long-haired centre-back for Inter Miami. They're not exactly going great guns in MLS at the moment. Inter currently 6th place in the Eastern Conference. They went into this tournament on a run of 2 wins in 6. There was a players' meeting which was led by Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi to try and improve things. Javier Mascherano, the coach of Inter Miami, has been criticised in the media at times, as Rodrigo Moura, the bright young thing of Porto football, is left in a heap. Free kick.
Rodrigo Moura just getting himself on the half turn, getting the ball in first. You can see Javier Mascherano, the InterMiami manager, is not very happy, having a sort of word with the referee, saying he thinks that he's giving too many fouls, there's no contact.
The referee's just come to speak to Mascherano, just try and calm him down. Mascherano did say his team were too anxious in the first half of the draw against Al Ahly. Said they gave the ball away far too cheaply. Felt they improved in the second half, had more space to play. Players were more calm.
We're just looking at InterMiami, their team shape out of the ball, going to a 4-3-3. Obviously we've said Suarez through the middle, Lionel Messi on the right hand side.
There's Gabri Veiga away down the right hand side for Porto. Players to aim for in the middle. It was hooked away by Kramaski and had to be, because Porto were queuing up in the centre there. Gabri Veiga, who came to prominence in Spain with Celta Vigo, then went to Saudi Arabia, won the Asian Champions League with Al Ahly out there, and said that even though he knew people in Spain didn't necessarily understand the young player going to Saudi, he felt it was the right move for him. There was a gasp there as Ustari was sold short by a back pass, but he got away with it and dug his teammates out of trouble there, really. 11 minutes gone here on TalkSport 2. FIFA Club World Cup live, and it is InterMiami 0, Porto 1. An 8th minute penalty from Samu Agihawa.
Well, you said about Mascherano thinking that InterMiami look a little bit nervous in the first game. Playing out from the back, they don't look particularly comfortable. And it was Rodrigo Mora who nearly just nipped him. I think if he had a little bit more conviction, he would have just nicked it in front of Ustari. But he sort of stopped and saw that Ustari was just a little bit bigger than him. So he thought, right, you can have it.
Javier Mascherano, the player who reached the Champions League final with Liverpool. He won everything there was to win at Barcelona. As a coach, he had a disappointing Olympics with Argentina, as the much fancied under-23 side went out in the quarter-finals. He got this job in November, replaced the veteran Tata Martino. InterMiami did win the MLS Supporters Shield last season. That's what you get if you finish top of the regular season with the best regular season record, but they went out in the first round of the playoffs, which is why it was somewhat controversial that they were selected for the Club World Cup lineup. But again, it helps if you have Lionel Messi in the squad.
Well, I think they might have even told him to play for the Lionel Messi Cup if they couldn't have got him in it. They tried their best to get Cristiano Ronaldo, didn't they, to swap sides, but it's quite funny actually. The Saudi Arabian chief executive of the Saudi Pro League there, he actually said, do people think that we're made of money and we print money? And think, well, actually, mate, yes, you are.
I think that is the general feeling. There's a bit of a clash here between Samu and an opponent. And the referee, Mr. Garay, going across to firefight again. It's been a tetchy start to the game, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, we thought that, it would be a little bit more intense, it'll be a little bit more physical, because both the team know that if they win this game, then basically they're in the last 16, the pressure's off a little bit. And even though InterMiami, they started off the better team in the first sort of 5 to 8 minutes, obviously it's FC Porto who have got themselves in front.
InterMiami would have a route back if they lose this game, but can't afford to lose it by a lot, and it would need them to beat Palmeiras, which is not going to be an easy thing to do. Got a chase here for Francisco Mora down the left for Porto, taking on Weigand, and ran out of real estate, and it ends up being a goal kick for InterMiami. You are listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on TalkSport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at dazn.com. Here is Messi dropping deep, plays it to Busquets, and now Segovia out to the left-hand side, and then Suarez back to Falcone. Just is a little laboured at times from InterMiami going forward. There's some nice one-touch passing, but they've lacked bursts of pace in that team at times. But the ball now swung from left to right to find Weigand, and Weigand in to Messi. Messi clips it forward now, and a bit of room for Kramaski, right edge of the penalty area. Just takes his time, a curling cross towards the far post, and he's overhit it, and actually I think that ball's curled out and then curled back in maybe. But Kramaski at least finding some space down the right.
Yeah, Leo Messi again dropping in that sort of 10 position, just got onto his left foot, lovely little dink pass to Kramaski, and he's actually tried to get in behind the FC Porto back three, and he's got himself to the byline, couldn't quite find that little bit of quality with the cross, which I think that's what's happened with InterMiami in this first 15 minutes, Kev. Their build-up play's been quite good, but got into the final third, and then it's just broken down a little bit too easy.
Quarter of an hour gone, and it is InterMiami 0, Porto 1 in Atlanta. Samu Agihaua's penalty, the difference so far. Here is Ivan Marcano, 37 now, 267th appearance for Porto. Man who has had a very impressive career at European club level, but has never actually played for Spain at international level. Here is the man who has, Samu Agihawa, but he gives that away cheaply to Segovia, and Segovia racing down the left. He wanted a little 1-2 with Suarez, but Suarez was dragged to the floor by Alan Varela, and that's going to be a free kick to InterMiami.
Yeah, just a little bit too impetuous there from Varela. Earlier on it was a really good switch of play there from Meccano, just on that sort of left-hand side of the FC Porto back three, just switching out to João Mario on that right-hand side, but then it just broke down a little bit too easy when it come into Agihawa, where he's got to make sure that he holds it up.
There's Falcone, former Uruguay youth international. He's 28 now. He had some shaky moments in that tournament opener against Al Ahly. He was caught out of position on numerous occasions, especially in the first half. Gorgeous turn by Messi, skipping away from Varela, who's still looking for him, I think. And now Messi in the inside left channel, 30 yards from goal. He works it to Allen, who's trying to get forward as much as he can on that left-hand side. We've seen Agende go out there as well. There is Samu though. Porto have won it back, but Samu can't keep it. Dispossessed by Busquets.
Just had a little example there of that little bit of lack of quality when it come into Segovia. Then he loses control, loses possession. That completely takes the impetus out of InterMiami's attack.
Suarez couldn't keep possession there, dispossessed by the right-sided centre-back Martin Fernandez. He's only 19, Fernandez. They've got some good youngsters in this side, Porto. They finished the domestic season pretty well. A run of 5 wins in 6, but ultimately finished 11 points behind the champion Sporting. Sporting managed to recover from the mid-season defection of Ruben Amorim to Manchester United. Martin Alcelmi took over Porto mid-season, went in January. Here is Messi, onto a loose ball, away from Varela again. He's got Suarez ahead of him, and he's found Luis Suarez. Left foot shot, saved brilliantly. Claudio Ramos to Porto's rescue again. A clear sight of goal for Luis Suarez. He has his head in his hands. He couldn't take advantage. And he knows that he should have scored. That all started because Meccano just gave the ball away very sloppily. Now at the other end, the Inter goalkeeper Ustari was a long way out of his penalty area. Falcone had to dig him out of jail. I think there's an offside given against Porto, but it's all happening all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's got a good tempo to him. You say Porto just give the ball away. Fantastic little ball from Messi with the outside of his left foot into the path of Suarez. Claudio Ramos, the Porto goalkeeper, does really well. He comes up with big Peter Schmeichel starfish shape. I think maybe with Suarez he needs to dink it just a little bit more. So he's just tried to dink it, but he's dinked it straight at Claudio Ramos. It's a couple of times that they've had little 1v1 situations. At the moment, Claudio Ramos has come out on top.
Those two, Suarez and Messi, have been going great guns in MLS. Personally, Messi with 10 goals and 5 assists in just 13 MLS games this season. Luis Suarez with 5 goals and 7 assists. So they are both delivering at MLS level, but of course this is a step up. Nearly 20 minutes gone in Atlanta. It is Inter Miami 0, Porto 1. And it is the Primera Liga side who have the advantage. Here is Marcano midway inside his own half for Porto, just gliding infield, and he allows Alan Varela to take it. Player who was signed from Boca Juniors. He was linked with Liverpool at one stage, Alan Varela.
Yeah, we just saw again Inter Miami going into that 4-3-3 shape, out of possession. Segovia going on that left-hand side, Messi on the right, Suarez through the middle, just letting Porto have the ball, and they've just given it away cheaply again.
Messi on the move, down the right-hand side, cuts in on his left foot, tries to play the reverse to Luis Suarez, who I think had run offside anyway. And Porto clear long, looking for Samu, and he's going to get there. Samu Agahawa. He's got Frey for company. Frey's had to come out to the touchline with him, and Samu just bounced him away. Must have been like Frey had run into a brick wall there. And there is Fabio Vieira. He doesn't really want to talk about his future, Fabio Vieira, on loan from Arsenal. No indication yet about whether he prolong his second spell as a Porto player. And you felt he struggled with the physicality of the Premier League.
Yeah, you could tell when I watched him play that there was a very gifted technical player in there. And just even looking at his body language tonight, where he's drifting into the obviously centre midfield areas, he just looked a little bit more confident. He's had once where he dropped deep and he just tried to help it over top for Samu to run onto. I don't think he plays that pass when he's playing for Arsenal, because I think he's frightened of giving the ball away, because he knows he's being judged on every pass. I just think he looks a little bit more relaxed at the moment.
Here is Velasco Segovia, inside right channel, played it through for Weigand, but it was a bouncy first touch from Weigand, and the goalkeeper again, Claudio Ramos, able to come out and sweep that up.
Yeah, Segovia doing really well, coming in from that left-hand side, just getting in that little pocket. Again, it's just that little bit of quality. Weigand made a good run on the right-hand side, but all Segovia's got to do, Kev, is just roll it into his path. And what he's tried to is actually try to pass it to him and just trying to put it into the space. So they've had really good moments, you know, in Porto's final third, but it's just a little bit scrappy and untidy in their last pass or last cross.
The voice there of the former Arsenal star Perry Groves alongside Kevin Hatchard for this one. 23rd minute in Atlanta. Inter Miami 0, Porto 1. Porto are not through if they win tonight, and Inter Miami are not out. But Lionel Messi's team would have a lot of work to do were they to lose this game. Earlier today, Palmeiras beat Al Ahly 2-0. They were the first goals we'd had in Group A. And now we've had a goal in this one as Ustari plays it forward towards Busquets, who came deep and plays that ball around the corner to Frey, who played a right back in the opener. He came off at half-time in that opening game, but he's been deployed at centre-back tonight.
Yeah, we'll see Inter Miami there, the two centre-halves splitting, Falcon going on the left-hand side and Frey coming on that right-hand side.
Long ball towards Suarez, but free kick given in Porto's favour. It was Agende who made the challenge. He's just remonstrating with the referee. But Porto have given Lionel Messi more space than Al Ahly gave him, certainly in the first half of that opening game. He got a bit more space in the second half, but it feels like he's getting an easier ride this time around.
I know that there's obviously all the stats and algorithms now that they do. I'd have thought that individually Messi's probably had more touches than any other outfield player on the pitch, and he just looks like he's enjoying himself. And I just think there's too much of a gap in the Porto midfield. Obviously Varela's the one who's playing at the base, so it's whether they say to him, wherever Messi goes then you go with him, but then he leaves another hole there. So maybe the three centre halves, there was the Pedro, Bacano and Fernandez, are just saying to Varela, you stay there, it doesn't matter where Messi goes.
Rodrigo Moura shoved over, but the referee says play on. Fabio Vieira, the little ball with the outside of his boot for Porto, finding Zé Pedro just to the right of the centre circle. Here come Porto down the right flank, the far side as we look at it, but they run out of room, and that's going to be an Inter Miami throw. Over on TalkSport right now, rugby is the focus with the British and Irish Lions preview. We'll have live and exclusive commentary of the Lions tour to Australia with former England and Australia coach Eddie Jones, part of our team. Headed forward here by Francisco Moura to Rodrigo Moura. Gorgeous touch to find Samu Agihawa on the edge of the penalty area, but the attack breaks down. But the stadium still buzzing after that touch from Moura. And here is Agihawa in the penalty area. He can't get the better of Frey, who stood up really well against him. And the ball ran loose and Ustari able to pick it up. But that was a lovely touch from Rodrigo Moura.
Yeah, great touch from Rodrigo Moura, and then it came to Fabio Vieira. Great little reverse pass, no look pass with his left foot into Agihawa. He's just trying to turn Frey, maybe trying to nutmeg him. Probably should have gone on the outside of him. To be fair to Frey, I've been very impressed with him so far, Kev. You know, when you watch a player in the game in real time, he just looks very composed, looks very good physically, doesn't panic when he's on the ball.
Fabio Vieira shifts it to Alan Varela. Back to Fabio Vieira, works it to the left-hand side, and Francisco Moura. Francisco Moura, who joined from Famalicão last year. He just works it to Rodrigo Moura, another back heel. Francisco Moura's cross, nobody coming in. There was only Agihawa at the back of the penalty area, and nobody attacking that cross.
That's a great crossing from Francisco Moura with his left foot, just whipping it across 6-yard box. Agihawa was standing on the edge of the 18-yard box, where he's the one who should be in between the posts. If he is, it's a tap-in.
Here's Lionel Messi, slides it down the inside right channel looking for Kramaski, and that necessitated a sliding challenge by Ivan Marcano. 27th minute, InterMiami 0, Porto 1 at the Club World Cup in Atlanta. Weigand finding Busquets, forward to Segovia, back to Busquets, who just drifted almost lazily into the path of Messi. Right into the penalty area, left-footed curling cross, and that's comfortable for Claudio Ramos. He almost got stuck between the cross and the shot there, Messi, and in the end it was an open invitation for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, we just saw there Rodrigo Moura making sure that he's getting back in front of Marcano, like doubling up on Lionel Messi. Just a little bit too floated, you know, the right idea, just trying to whip it into that area in between 6-yard box and the penalty spot. So just a little bit too much levitation on it, and Claudio Ramos just collects it quite easily. Just looking at him, we talk about Fabio Vieira, and just looking at him, obviously he's looking to be the playmaker. You know, he's the conductor with the baton, and looks like he's been given a little bit of a free roll in that midfield area, and he's actually enjoying it.
Yeah, he's the silk and Varela is the steel really in that midfield, and Messi upended there in the centre circle. So rather agricultural effort to win that ball, truth be told. Messi doesn't complain too much. Javier Mascherano in his black t-shirt and blue trousers looking increasingly frustrated on the edge of that technical area, the InterMiami coach.
Just looking at Lionel Messi there, I think he can come into my ginger squad. I'm just looking, he's got a little bit of ginger on his beard, isn't he? So I think he can actually be a non-honorary member.
He'll be thrilled. Will there be a ceremony?
Yes, what we'll do, we'll have a ginger 11. Actually, we won't play out in the heat in Miami or Florida, because it's not conducive for gingers out there.
You're a winter team.
Yeah, I think we'll have to play somewhere in Northern Europe.
I think that's entirely fair. Off to Iceland you go. Here they come. Down the left-hand side, Porto trying to find Rodrigo Moura. It was overhit though, the attempt to find him, and it was swept up pretty confidently by InterMiami. And now Kramaski works it to Segovia. Long dark hair flowing behind him. He tried to play it down the centre, and that's cleared by Porto, and it comes to Fabio Vieira wearing number 10. Came to Arsenal with a big reputation, but of course Martin Ødegaard very much ahead of him in the pecking order. But it was a surprise that they let both Fabio Vieira and Emile Smith-Rowe go in the same summer. Porto nearly gave the ball away in their own half there. Suarez was trying to sense blood in the water but couldn't quite get there. We are ticking towards the half-hour mark here on TalkSport 2. InterMiami 0, Porto 1. The early penalty from Samu Agihawa, and who scored 25 goals in all competitions in the season just gone. I think we'd just about call it last season now. It's all very confusing. Here's Rodrigo Moura just trying to step away from the challenge of Frey. And as you said, Perry, he's not messing about, Ian Frey.
No, he's been very, very impressive. Maybe there, when it comes into Rodrigo Mora, it's just a little over because Aguilar is standing behind him. Maybe they just need to communicate a little bit better. But Frey decided actually to get into the fray and impose himself physically.
Porto did find the opener tough against Palmeiras, drew it 0-0. The Brazilian side had more possession, more shots on target. Martin Anselmi defended his players, said there are no easy games in the group, nobody wants to give anything away. Ball play forward to Agahawa here, and he works it to Rodrigo Mora, left edge of the penalty area for Porto. Onto his right foot, waiting for support to arrive, little back heel, Francisco Mora's cross, and that's hacked away. Ball still spinning in the penalty area though, and eventually dealt with by Weigand. Clears up towards Agende, and now Messi works it infield to Busquets, but that was a bit of a scare for Inter Miami.
Yeah, good play, link up play on the left hand side of Porto with the two Moras. In the end it was Francisco Mora who got himself free. I think again he just has to have a bit better quality. He tried to whip it across 6-yard box, maybe just needs to get a little bit more height in it and try and if he can just chip it up for Aguero on the far post. There's been a good flow to the game, Kev, hasn't there? The intensity's been really good. Both teams have come out. Both teams want to be on the front foot. You know, there's no... Sometimes you get, possession stats where the teams keep possession, they don't actually go anywhere. You can tell with both teams, especially obviously Messi getting himself on the ball for Inter Miami and Fabio Vieira for Porto, that they want to go forward.
Feels like a game that they know they could do with winning, having drawn their opening match. Here is Fabio Vieira again, dropping into that deeper area, and he swings it beautifully to João Mario on the far side, the right, and then across towards Agahawa, who couldn't reach it. It's come out to Francisco Mora just inside the area, cuts it back, shot came in from Gabri Veiga, and the whistle has gone. Agahawa is sat down on his backside on the edge of the 6-yard box and has his arms outstretched. I think the decision has gone against him second time around, but Porto starting to look really dangerous, Perry.
Yeah, I think Vegon did really well there because Agahawa was where he should be as a centre forward in between the posts. Vegon realises that he was on the wrong side of him, but he just got his arms around him just to put him off balance. Then Agahawa couldn't get himself to the ball.
Like other Portuguese giants like Benfica and Sporting, Porto used to developing talent, selling it on, but they've lost half a team in the last 2 years. Evan Nielsen went to Bournemouth, they sold Nico Gonzalez to Manchester City. And here comes Rodrigo Mora, one of their brightest sparks, but he runs out of real estate and the ball just bounces off his shin and goes all the way through to Ustari.
Do you think any of the Inter Miami players would just give Lionel Messi a rollick in there because he's giving the ball away?
I would be surprised.
Was it be a little clap? We'd be unlucky, Lionel.
Yeah.
Next time, maybe.
I think he gets a bit more slack.
A little bit more leeway.
Yeah, just a bit. Kamaski finding Messi midway inside the Porto half, and he's given that away. And now Agahawa can bring it clear for Porto, so just a ragged minute or so for Lionel Messi.
You know what happens, Kev, is like obviously one of the best players the game's seen. You start to get a little bit frustrated because
Ball slipped through towards Agahawa, but it was too strong, and Ustari claims
the players aren't on your level. So then what you try and do is then you try and force things and you try and make them see the pass that you want to give, where maybe at the moment it's only really Suarez is on his wavelength, so you can understand sort of his frustration. But there's been no lack of effort or endeavour because he's wanting to get himself on the ball. Now he's just dropping that midfield. It just looks like that Martin Anselmi, the Porto manager, has said whoever the nearest player is to Lionel Messi, you have to go and engage him. You can't give him that much space what he had in that first 20 minutes.
He had far too much room for manoeuvre in the opening exchanges. Here is Falcone, who rolls it to Suarez. Suarez with the instant layoff, but it wasn't the best layoff to Busquets. But if anybody can deal with a dodgy layoff, it's Busquets.
We're just seeing Messi, getting that midfield area. It's either Fabio Vieira or Varela. They're talking to each other. Whoever's the nearest players to him just goes and stands on him.
Ball works out to Agende, plays it in towards Suarez and let it run. Here is Kramaski with the right foot shot, kicked away by Claudio Ramos. It was a low angle drive from Kremaski, and the goalkeeper reacted sharply. InterMiami on the attack again. Messi clips it towards the penalty area, but it's half cleared by Martin. And now Porto able to win a throw on that far side, but InterMiami starting to make things happen and opening up that Porto rearguard.
When we said that about that just lack of quality, when it comes out to Kremaski, he finds himself completely unmarked. He takes too many touches. There he should be hitting it. He takes an extra touch. That makes him go a little bit wider. Then he scuffs it. In the end, it's an easy save for Claudio Ramos. But as it's coming across to him, Kev, players of the top quality, they take one touch out of their feet, then they get their shot away. So he's taken an extra touch that enables then Porto to go and close him down. Then he panics to get his shot in. In the end, it's a simple save for Claudio Ramos.
He's a player that's only 20, Ben Kremaski, but he's got just the one goal in MLS this season. He's packed a lot in. It's his 91st InterMiami appearance in Atlanta this evening. There's still a lot to learn. There is Agende. He's trying to play it through towards that penalty area, towards Luis Suarez, who's getting a bit frustrated himself. Luis Suarez. He tries to take a ball on his chest on the edge of the area when he bursts through, but free kick's been given against him for the foul on Varela. Varela tracked him all the way, and it's a free kick with the score still. InterMiami 0, Porto 1.
Yeah, that's really good play from Varela. Obviously, he's the defensive midfield player for FC Porto, just making sure that follows the run of Luis Suarez. Suarez there, obviously, getting a bit frustrated, where really you should just let Varela have the ball because he's facing his own goal. He ain't going anywhere. The thing that he wants you to do is put your arms on him and pull him down.
Claudio Ramos, the 33-year-old goalkeeper for Porto, was excellent in their first game against Palmeiras. He's stood out again so far in this game. A number of important stops, and he's deputising for Portuguese international goalkeeper Diogo Costa, who's not fully fit. He's just won the Nations League with his country. It's Fabio Vieira, left foot shot from range, and he got right underneath it, and the ball sails over the crossbar.
Didn't really have the courage of his convictions. Fabio Vieira just picking the ball up on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's the right idea, but on execution, he's got to put his foot through it. In the end, he's just tried to bend it with his instep with his left foot over to Oscar Ustari's left-hand corner. Ends up just skying it over the crossbar.
I mentioned earlier those Porto players who come to the Premier League. They lost Otavio and Galeno to Saudi Arabian football as well. Francisco Conceição moved to Juventus. Of course, the defensive legend Pepe retired.
I think it was the first season since 2016-2017, wasn't it, last season, that they played without Pepe?
Unbelievable. And he's
How old was he, 52?
Not quite, but he's not decided to quit physical activity. He's been doing long bike rides, he's been entering races. Forward by Messi here, but that was straight onto the chest of Martin. And now Rodrigo Moura sweeps it out to the right-hand side, and Gabri Veiga back to the right wing, and now they're working infield to Fabio Vieira, who really is running the midfield for Porto at the moment. Francisco Moura down the left, and now Ivan Marcano overlapping. It's come to Rodrigo Moura, great turn, still going, cleared off the line by Falcone. Goalkeeper was beaten, the big centre-back was not, and Rodrigo Moura is denied.
Rodrigo Moura actually thought it put FC Porto 2-0 up. Fantastic defensive play from Falcon on line behind his goalkeeper. Now just getting a little bit fractious.
And Falcon is at the heart of that. There's a lot of pushing and shoving, but not really much to it. Francisco Moura being beckoned across by the referee, but it was a super move that included a rumbling run by Ivan Marcano, the big centre-back on the left-hand side.
Yeah, he's coming a bit like Sheffield United on that inverted inside left from the left-sided defensive position. Really good play actually from Aguawa, just a little flick inside for Rodrigo Moura. I thought at first maybe he should take it first time, but then he obviously got himself turned then he just thinks because he's beaten Ustari that he scored. Really good defensive play from Falcon, just making sure that he's backing his goalkeeper up.
I've just seen another angle actually on our monitors, and I just wonder whether Ustari got a bit of a touch to that. Falcon was right behind him, and it looked as though initially Ustari had been beaten. I wonder if he got across there actually and was able to get a piece of that. But either way, InterMiami have survived, and that feels like a really big moment in the game, because 2-0 before half-time, and suddenly that is a mountain to climb for Lionel Messi and InterMiami. Bit of space here for Busquets, the number 5. What a titan of world football he's been, not just at club level with Barcelona, but won 143 caps for Spain, played 722 times for Barcelona. Sergio Busquets. Header here from Kramaski down the right hand side, finds Weigand for InterMiami, who've had their moments, but every time they've broken through, they've found the Porto keeper Claudio Ramos in their way. 41st minute here on TalkSport 2, live Club World Cup commentary. InterMiami 0, Porto 1. Samu Aguihawa's early penalty, still the difference between the teams. Here is Francisco Moura breaking forward from the left-back zone for Porto. Just checks and rolls it back to Marcano. That's the benefit of having 3 centre-backs, isn't it? You can get one of the wide centre-backs to join in with the attack.
Yeah, very much so, especially if you're pushing your sort of wing-backs, and Francisco Moura's been given natural width on this left-hand side, so he keeps that width. That enables Marcano then just to drift into that area. They just create a little bit of an overload.
It's interesting, we barely mentioned Joao Mario on the right hand side, although it was he who won the penalty early on. Is Messi skipping towards the edge of the D for InterMiami. There's a buzz around the Mercedes-Benz Stadium every time he gets the ball, but on that occasion he was met by a blue and white wall and there was no way through. Here's Fabio Vieira skipping away from the challenge of Weigand, and then he's dispossessed by Agende. And now Segovia inside left channel, midway inside the Porto half for InterMiami. Here's Kramaski, rolls it to Busquets. Busquets assesses his options, plays a lovely ball to Segovia towards Messi. That's really well swept up though by Marcano. Read the danger.
Just saw there, Kev, that Lionel Messi's not getting that space what he got in that first 20-25 minutes. Just saw Fabio Vieira just look over his shoulder just to make sure he cuts off that line into Messi. And even before that, when he beat the first man, it was like collective responsibility, wasn't it? He ran into 5 FC Porto bodies.
Here's Agahawa taking them on. It's a surging run. Agahawa's shot, brilliant save by Ustari. Stood up really strong and made the block. But that was a sensational run by Samu Agahawa. They could not stop him. And the left foot shot blocked by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was just brilliant play from Agahawa. 1v1 with Frey. Frey just trying to ease him on the outside. Agahawa just got too much strength, too much pace, gets it onto his left foot. Really good save from Oscar Ustari at his near post again, making sure he's getting his angles right. Just stood up nice and big. That's exactly where Agahawa wants Frey or Falcon. He wants some 1v1s in the wide areas, wants them isolated.
It's like a boulder running downhill there, Samu Agahawa, but Ustari able to make the save. Agahawa admits it was a really tough time last summer when his move to Chelsea collapsed. Here is Rodrigo Moura, finds Agahawa, edge of the area, onto his right foot, back to Rodrigo Moura, lays it off, Varela with the shot, hits the post, it hits the goalkeeper, and looked for a moment like it would spin in, but Ustari gratefully grabs the ball. Alan Varela so close to 2-0.
Yeah, really good strike from Varela, just making sure, just putting his foot through the ball with his laces, beats Ustari, all ends up, comes back off the post, and sometimes can you see them ricochet back off the goalkeeper's head and just roll over the line. Thankfully for Ustari, there wasn't enough pace on the ball, just hit him in the back. He's able to just obviously put his body on top of it. But again, we just saw the difference in that final third with the quality of FC Porto, with the way that they move the ball. They pick the right options and they always get their shot off, or get a shot on target, where that's not been happening with Miami.
Suarez turning on the edge of the area for InterMiami, but he couldn't force it into the box, and Porto able to bring it clear. Some nifty footwork there from Gabri Veiga in midfield. That's opened up space for the number 10, Fabio Vieira, who's been excellent in this first half. We're ticking towards stoppage time here on TalkSport 2. InterMiami 0, Porto 1. And Porto have come close to making it 2-0. And we've had a Rodrigo Moura shot brilliantly blocked, whether by goalkeeper or defender or both. And they've also struck the woodwork. But InterMiami have had their moments too. We'll have just the 2 minutes of additional time. We're into the first of those. Because the roof is closed, there's no hydration break. Ball just got away from Gabri Veiga. Vega's been floating around as part of that front three. It's been quite fluid, hasn't it, behind Agahauer?
Yeah, very much so. It's Veiga. Obviously, we thought it'd be on the left-hand side, but predominantly he's been on that right-hand side. Rodrigo Moura drifting more out to the left, but then he just makes sure if it goes into Agahauer, he goes and supports him.
There's Agende trying to force it infield for InterMiami, but he ran out of room and gave away the free kick. Porto did struggle last summer to cope with the loss of their long-serving coach Sergio Conceição. His replacement Vitor Bruno, who had been his assistant, only lasted 29 games in all competitions before he got the push. It often goes that way, doesn't it, that you have an assistant coach that knows the players, knows the club, and you think, well, it should work, shouldn't it? And then actually it doesn't.
Comes down to authority. It's very, very difficult to turn yourself from the coach's job is the link between the manager and the players, and you'll be probably on more friendly terms with the manager is, and all of a sudden then you have to go to be the headmaster. Very, very difficult. And I think since Martin Anselmi's come in, they played 19, won 10, lost 4, so he's got a 52% win rate. So that's not bad for someone who comes in sort of mid-season.
Well, they've looked the better team so far in Atlanta, and we're ticking towards half-time, and that is indeed half-time. Porto in the blue and white shirts and blue shorts will play from left to right as we look at it in this second half. InterMiami all in pink, playing towards the goal away to the left. It's the goal scorer in the first half who gets us back underway, Samu Agahauer. Can Porto see this through and get 4 points from their first 2 games? And they'll also want to keep back-to-back clean sheets. They only conceded 30 goals in 34 league matches last season, but they did find goals relatively hard to come by. Scored 65 times in the league. That sounds quite good, but then you compare it to the champion Sporting, who scored 23 goals more. Those are the 2 lineups for you in just a moment, as the impressive Francisco Moura takes a touch on the left wing for Porto. He was very good going up and down that flank, but they've given the ball away really cheaply here on the switch to Segovia, who had some nice touches in the first half. He feeds it to the left-hand side to Noah Allen, who gave away the penalty early on, from which Samu Agahauer scored the only goal of the game. Here on TalkSport 2, InterMiami 0, Porto 1. InterMiami, no, they would only have 1 point from 2 games if they lose this one. It wouldn't be a fatal blow, but it would leave them staggering. And there's Busquets in the centre circle. Rodrigo Moura nearly needed a ticket to get back in the stadium there. He just ghosted away from the youngster. Here's Agende out to Weigand. He cuts it back and it's volleyed in by Segovia. Boy, they needed that. The perfect start to the second half. Telasco Segovia thrashes in the equaliser. InterMiami 1, Porto 1.
Kev, we said it was imperative that InterMiami started really well in this second half. Segovia, emphatic finish. He's actually started to move off where FC Porto gave the ball away very, very cheaply. Then just comes out to Busquets. They work it out to that right-hand side. Then FC Porto don't go and close the ball down. Great little overlap. Big hand. Just make sure he gets to the byline, whips the ball across. And then Segovia just carries on his run, and he makes sure the ball makes up his mind, hits it first time, just as it bounces up on the volley. Fantastic technique with his right foot. Gives Claudio Ramos absolutely no chance eye to his left-hand side. Fantastic start from InterMiami.
Claudio Ramos, the goalkeeper, didn't even see it. He heard it as the ball whizzed past him and then rippled the net. And Selasco Segovia is only 22. He's a Venezuelan international. He only signed in January from a Portuguese club, joined from Casapia, and he's been scoring goals and making goals in MLS this season. And now he has scored on the global stage, and InterMiami have a goal they so desperately needed, given to them not by Messi, not by Suarez, but by Selasco Segovia. And we are tied at 1-1, and that is a shock to the system for FC Porto. But here's Fabio Vieira, lovely ball into the penalty area. It's on the byline. Moura's cross towards Agahawa, who couldn't quite win the header. Joao Mario trying to keep it alive, and then a really awkward effort that's volleyed wide of the target by quite some distance from Fabio Vieira. Let me give you those two teams. It's Ustari in goal for InterMiami, Weigand, Frey, Falcone and Allen the back four, Agende, Kramaski, Busquets and Segovia the midfield four, and then Messi and Suarez up front. For Porto, Ramos in goal, Marcano, Zé Pedro and Martin the back three, Moura, Vieira, Varela and Joao Mario across the middle, and then Rodrigo Moura, Agahawa and Veiga the front three for the Portuguese Giants, who have been pegged back early on in the second half here on TalkSport 2, 1-1.
Yeah, you want players to take responsibility, Kev, exactly what Segovia did. As I said, it was FC Porto in possession. They gave the ball away really cheaply to Segovia, and he just made sure that as the ball was being built up down that right hand side, he came in from the left hand side, timed his run to perfection, and just as the ball sits up, he ends up sweeping it in right footed, basically on the volley. And you can tell that Javier Mascherano have said to his Inter Milan side, they've come out and they're playing with the same intensity what they did in the first 10-15 minutes of the first half.
Nice turn by Busquets. He's found Noah Allen. They've got their tails up here into Miami. They have their equaliser, they have their first goal in the Club World Cup. Switch is collected at full stretch on that far side by Frey. Did a good job there. Kramaski involved. Now Busquets with the surge. Was he brought down? He was, by Rodrigo Moura. And it is incredible how quickly things change. It's an old cliche, goals change games, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah, we just said as well, with Leo Messi, how he can get himself into the game. Good example there, linking up with Sergio Busquets. Busquets actually going past Leo Messi, and then Rodrigo Moura, a little bit of frustration, just puts his body across quite rightly. The referee, Christian Garay, gives the foul, and you can actually hear it. You can hear the atmosphere in the stadium. It's actually enhanced the atmosphere, because obviously Inter have got themselves back into this game, so it's give the crowd a little bit of hope.
And it's a free kick which Lionel Messi stands over. It's a good 35 yards out, maybe a bit more, but he has gone for it, and it curls wide of the post, with Claudio Ramos, the goalkeeper, in truth fairly relaxed about that, but it's a sighter for Lionel Messi.
Yeah, as you said there, Claudio Ramos had a good view of it. Not enough pace on the ball from Messi to trouble Claudio Ramos.
Kramaski with the volley towards the wing, but Segovia couldn't quite take it in stride, but the free kick has gone into Miami's way. Porto still in the dressing room here. They've really struggled in the opening 6.5 minutes of this second half. Live Club World Cup commentary on TalkSport 2, and all square now in Atlanta. InterMiami 1, Porto 1. And here is Busquets, just to the right of the centre circle, forward to Messi. Messi on the charge. Got two players around him, but he's managed to keep possession. So difficult to dispossess, even though he turns 38 next week. Segovia, the goal scorer. Now Messi, edge of the D, finds Suarez. Messi felt he was taken out there, and the referee, he's going to give the free kick, and it's right on the edge of the D, and that's Lionel Messi territory.
Yeah, we said how's Messi going to get himself into the game. We've seen a couple of times Sergio Busquets get himself on the ball and playing probably 15 yards further up than what he was in that first half, so he's closer to Lionel Messi. He's only probably 10-15 yards away from him, so he can roll the ball to him. This time it was Segovia, great little layoff from Suarez, little 1-2 with Messi. You see there, just a plethora of bodies. Then Messi just gets body checked by Pedro. As you said there, it's in prime location for Lionel Messi.
Claudio Ramos, the experienced goalkeeper for Porto, looks a little nervous, like many goalkeepers before him, when they watch Lionel Messi place that ball, have a studied look at the goal frame, the wall, the ball, that supercomputer in his brain, calculating it all, the angles, the distance, and the whole stadium waits for the big moment. There aren't many players who engender this level of anticipation from a free kick.
Have you ever seen the ball hit the long barrier laying down behind the wall? Never seen it.
Edge of the D, Lionel Messi, left foot. Oh, it's stunning! Of course it's stunning! Lionel Messi has arrived at the Club World Cup, and InterMiami have turned it around. It's Messi magic, and it's 2-1.
Come off the hour, come off the Messi. We said it was in his territory, prime location, and you've got to make sure that you deliver. We said about Claudio Ramos just being a little bit apprehensive, and it's the goalkeeper side, because Ramos just takes a slight step to his right hand side, then he hasn't got the leverage to go to his left and just hits into the side netting. Fantastic technique from Lionel Messi. InterMiami have been absolutely outstanding in this second half and quite deservedly go 2-1 in the lead.
It's his 50th InterMiami goal in only his 61st appearance. Lionel Messi still sparkling, and InterMiami have simply blown Porto away in the opening minutes of this second half, and all of a sudden it is the Dragons who are in big trouble. But it is remarkable, isn't it? I mean, he's done it so many times, and it's so rare to have that with a free kick on the edge of the D, that people expect him to at least hit the target and probably score.
You could hear the air of anticipation in the stadium. You could hear the gasp. So this basically, they think it's like a penalty, and then they're waiting for Messi to deliver, and boy did he deliver. And we said about how can he get himself into the game, and what's happened is Javier Mascherano, the InterMiami manager, have said, I think that they paid FC Porto too much respect in the last 20-25 minutes of that first half. You've got to get in their faces more, and they've been a lot more confrontational.
Porto have won a corner down the right hand side. Alan Varela takes it, tried to flick it on at the near post, but Martin didn't quite make anything happen there for his team, and InterMiami trying to break now. The change since the equaliser from Segovia really has been quite remarkable, and we have a cracker here in Atlanta. InterMiami were 1-0 down to Porto at half-time. They're now 2-1 up, and we're in the 57th minute. And here is Busquets, who was involved in that first goal in the way that he stepped away from two Porto players and opened up the space.
Well, we said he was playing a little bit further up, a bit closer to Lionel Messi. Had a link up with him just before that. That enabled Messi to get the ball for him and play his little 1-2 with Suarez.
Messi on the move again down the right hand side, but I think he knew the flag was going to go up against him. He slowed down, and that flag was indeed raised. You're listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on TalkSport 2, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at dazn.com to watch every game live and for free. Live commentary here on TalkSport 2 of what's become a cracking game. Here's Gabri Veiga down the right for Porto. Low ball into the penalty area, and that's swept up well by the impressive Ian Frey. He's only 22, born in the US but qualifies for Jamaica. And now a surging run towards the edge of the area by Agende, but he just couldn't find a way through. Porto got back and closed down the list of options.
It's really good defending from the centre halves of both teams there. The first one was Frey when the ball got whipped across the box. Sometimes you have to defend the space and not the clout. It's exactly what Frey did, made sure he was right in the centre goal between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box, slid in and cut it out. And then we had a brilliant tackle from Meccano there, as you said there, as InterMiami broke down their left-hand side. It was a crunching tackle from Meccano just to make sure that he quelled the danger.
Martin Anselmi has had enough. He's going to make a couple of changes. Here is Messi though, just shy of halfway. Picks a beautiful pass out to the right-hand side. Suarez is in the middle if they can find him, and he couldn't. It was cut out at the near post. It was Weigand who tried to find him, and Suarez waited for a pass that never arrived.
We just see their levels different players. Weigand should be putting the ball in first time. Suarez is completely unmarked. Great ball from Messi. If Weigand puts the ball in that first time, Suarez unmarked. He takes the touch. That enables the defender to come back and get in between Suarez and the ball and just negate the danger. But just saying, it's just that little bit of quality that is missing sometimes from InterMiami in that final third.
Double change coming for Porto. And it is Gonçalo Borges who's one of the players coming on, and they're going to bring on Steven Eustáquio, who is an experienced Canadian international, and they're taking off Gabri Veiga and Martim. Eustáquio is a defensive midfielder, really, energy guy in there, and Gonçalo Borges is a winger, can play left wing or right wing, player who's come through the youth ranks at Porto. Weigand's got a bit of a problem here, the right back for InterMiami. He's just holding his left hip, just hobbling around. It's a decent game, Weigand. He's a player that gave a wholehearted performance as a substitute in the opening game against Al Ahly. He had a good chance actually in that one, and he put it over the crossbar.
I think the word to describe would be industrious.
Yes.
Up and down that right-hand
side. Maybe not quite the stardust of some of his teammates, but certainly puts in a shift. Here come Porto. So that double change, just to remind you, Gabri Veiga and Martim have come off. So it's pretty much an attacking change, really. Here's João Mario inside right channel for Porto. Plays it across to Fabio Vieira, 40 yards out dead centre. He works it out to the left-hand side, and Francisco Moura back to Fabio Vieira. Porto looking so good at half-time. They had chances to make it 2-0. They hit the post, remember, at 1-0. Alan Varela came very close. But now suddenly they find themselves behind the 8 ball in Atlanta with an hour gone. Cross from the left-hand side for Porto, headed away. But not the best of headers clear. Rodrigo Moura, lovely turn into the penalty area. Brilliant challenge, just to toe-end the ball away from him. He looked for all the world as though he was through, and suddenly InterMiami said, no, you're not.
Yeah, I think it was an Inspector Gadget leg there from Sergio Busquets. Again, it's experience, it's really good timing, because Rodrigo Moura's got really happy feet in around that 18-yard box, had to time it to perfection. Just looking at FC Porto, looks like Eustáquio, obviously predominantly he's a midfield player, but it seems like he's going to go in the middle of the back three, because they want him to get on the ball and get the passing moves going.
Just to start the build-up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Weigand's got a problem again here, and he's just gone down, still holding his hip, and so it looks as though Thomas Aviles is going to come on. Now, he started the opening game against Al Ahly, and he was dropped for tonight's game, and they moved Frey into the middle. So I would suspect that Aviles would go alongside Falcone, and Frey will go back out to right back, but we'll see how that shakes down. But shame for Weigand, who was an Argentinian youth international. He was on loan from Boca Juniors. As you might expect, with Lionel Messi leading the charge, there's a very heavy Argentinian presence. The coach is Argentinian. There's a fair few Argentinian youth internationals that Mascherano would have been aware of that have come in. And poor old Weigand's being helped to the sideline not only by Falcone but by Ustari. And bless Falcone, he was trying to do it all on his own there, and the goalkeeper came across to help. So that is the change. Thomas Aviles, who is only 21. He's another one who's an Argentinian youth international. He comes on. And Weigand has to watch from the sidelines.
Aviles looks like he's about 13.
Yeah. Terrifying, isn't it? How old does it make us feel? The scary thing is, we talk about Messi being towards the end of his career. Still only 37.
What's Ronaldo? 40?
Yeah. Still younger than me. Busquets playing out from midfield, finding Messi. The old Barcelona connection working for Inter Miami tonight. And here is Lionel Messi just trying to jab that forward, but it was well read by the Porto rear guard. Ball's going to come loose for Gonzalo Borges. It's his first chance to have a run at them, and that's what he's capable of doing. And he beat three men there and then went down, and the referee said he was trying to buy that free kick and he didn't give it, and Porto are suddenly short-handed. Messi wide on the right hand side where he loves to operate, just works it in fields. Busquets, he tried to find Messi with the return, but it was too straight and too far, and Claudio Ramos was able to take it.
Yeah, I think Busquets is trying to force it a little bit too much. You see the disappointment from Suarez, because maybe Busquets should just be rolling it into Suarez, but obviously trying to get it into his ex-Barcelona teammate Messi on that right-hand side. But things that happen in Porto are going to have to take more chances, obviously commit more men forward. That's going to suit Inter Miami on the counter-attack. That's going to suit Lionel Messi, because there'll be more space that opens up. There'll be more holes that he can go and operate in.
Lovely switch out to the far side for Francisco Moura for Porto, down the left, works it to the edge of the penalty area, but good strong defending as they tried to build down that left hand side. Francisco Moura was a player that was getting away down that left hand side a lot in the first half. Haven't really seen that in this second period.
Well, I think what it is, because they haven't been able to get any control of the game. We said in that last 20-25 minutes, there's the man Pepe, what we spoke about earlier. Probably looking at it thinking, what they need is a strong centre-half at the back that goes and heads and smashes everybody.
He could still play. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. There's not a scrap of fat on that man. He could quite happily race onto the pitch.
We just mentioned earlier, Fabio Vieira is the one who's controlling the game in that last 20-25 minutes. They haven't had control of the game. We're coming up to 65 minutes played. And you have to say that is down to Inter Miami imposing themselves on FC Porto.
Worked it here to Gonzalo Borges though, down the right hand side, a little step over, inside outside onto his left foot, high hanging cross to the far post. Rodrigo Moura jumped for it. That was a bit of a mismatch, and the ball just dropped limply into the penalty area for Ustari to take it up. Over on Talk Sport right now, Rugby Union is the focus with a British and Irish Lions preview. We'll have live and exclusive commentary of the tour to Australia, with former England and Australia coach Eddie Jones part of the team. 66 minutes gone nearly in Atlanta. Inter Miami 2, Porto 1. Porto were 1-0 up at half-time, and they came close to making it 2-0 in that first half. But Inter Miami, with a wonderful volley from Talasco Segovia and a classic Messi free kick, have turned this game on its head, and they have a free kick in the centre circle, which Busquets will take. Rolls it to Kramaski. Don't think was ready for it. He just couldn't quite catch up with it.
I think Busquets actually gave his own player the eyes there. He said Kramaski thought he was about to fray on the right hand side, and Busquets has used the eyes and just completely fooled Kramaski's own player.
Supposed to be using his powers for good, not on this occasion. Here's Falcone, midway inside his own half. That clearance from Falcone in the first half, very, very important, because had it got to 2-0, you wonder if Inter Miami would have been able to turn this around in the way that they have. As things stand, Inter Miami would go level on points at the top of Group A with Palmeiras, and suddenly they'd be sitting pretty, knowing that all of a sudden the point would do the trick in terms of making the last 16, but it would potentially be a straight shootout for leadership of Group A.
Kevin said as well, how was Lionel Messi going to get himself in the game? And I said about maybe interchange with Segovia. Exactly what happened. Messi's come out on this left-hand side, Segovia's gone out on the right-hand side, just to cause the back five out of possession FC Porto with a few more problems. At the moment, they haven't had any answers.
Ball is played to Segovia on halfway, and he took a fearsome bump there as he played the switch, but he just gets up and gets on with it. So Lionel Messi, stunning free kick, the difference at the moment. Of course, he played many games with Javier Mascherano at Barcelona. Mascherano said, I've had the privilege of watching his evolution. He's turned from being simply a forward to a complete player. When you have a player like that, you have to give him the freedom to move around to where he can best help the team. And here come Porto though, with Gonzalo Borges. Gets a low cross in, away by Falcone. It'll come back out to Borges, and he just lets that run.
He's looked quite live on this right-hand side, Borges, a couple of times, a couple of foot overs. He's got a couple of crosses in. Really good defender from Falcone. Again, just making sure that you occupy that space at the near post so the ball can't be whipped across the 6-yard box.
And João Mario to take the throw. Porto, who won the 2004 Champions League under Jose Mourinho. They won the UEFA Cup against Celtic under him as well. Been Portuguese champions 30 times. It is an enormous football club, and they did so want to do well in this tournament, having a domestic dismay really, watching Benfica and Sporting move ahead of them in the pecking order. They were knocked out by Roma in the Europa League. Here's Falcone midway inside his own half. 70th minute in Atlanta, in this wonderful stadium. InterMiami 2, Porto 1. Lionel Messi's free kick, the difference. There is João Mario under pressure, the right back for Porto. Goes all the way back to his goalkeeper, Claudio Ramos. Back out to João Mario, another player who came through the Porto Youth Academy. 25 now, João Mario. 180th game for the club tonight. And here's Pedro and Porto, almost as if they're having a bit of a collective breather here. Trying to play through the InterMiami press. There's only so energetic that press can be, because Messi is never going to wholeheartedly join it. Suarez, of course, another one who's getting towards the end of his career maybe. So it is difficult, isn't it? You're asking those players to sprint and sprint and sprint. They're going to make a change here into Miami, fresh legs in midfield, and they're going to bring on Federico Redondo, man with a famous name and with good reason, son of Fernando Redondo, the Real Madrid legends. And Segovia got a big standing ovation as he went off. That volley early in the second half from him has sparked this incredible comeback.
Yep, it's a good night's work from Segovia. So he's been decent on the ball. Just look, when Inter Miami were looking for that little bit of inspiration, he's the one. You thought it might come from Suarez, you thought it might come from Messi. It actually come from Segovia with a brilliant right-footed volley to get them back on level terms. So Redondo, just like for like substitution, so fresh legs.
So he was lured to InterMiami by the prospect of playing with Lionel Messi. He's another one that has played for the Argentinian under-23 side. He's a central midfielder. His father was a wonderful footballer. So technically gifted, played at such a high level. Here's Pedro for Porto, who are readying another change. And here's Borges down the right-hand side, twisting and turning against Kramaski, who tried to stick with him. Going to bring on the young Brazilian William Gomez. Porto trying to save this game, which has rather got away from them in this second half. Is Pedro out to William, out to Gonzalo Borges on the right hand side, onto his left foot, curling cross is a good one, and the header towards the near post was saved by Ustari. It was Francisco Moura coming in. It was a downward header. Did wonder if that ball just crept over the byline for a corner, but the official said no, and Ustari maybe made a bit of a meal, if that truth be told.
Yeah, Borges doing really well again on this right hand side, just getting across with his left foot. Francisco Moura, false nose and glasses, just coming at the far post, really should be heading the ball back across the 6-yard box. In the end it was a very, very simple save from Ustari. I'm just looking at FC Porto, and we said at first half that Fabio Vieira, wasn't he, was the one who was controlling it. For some reason, Martin Anselmi, the FC Porto manager, has put Vieira further out on the left-hand side. And what's that meant is they haven't been able to control the game.
Here come InterMiami down the right-hand side. And it was a surging run by Frey down the right, but Marcano came across, played it off him, and it goes out for the goal kick. So here comes the change that we mentioned. William Gomez, just 19, comes on, and it's Varela who makes way. Alan Varela, who is a defensive midfielder by trade, so William Gomez hoping to make an impact here. But Porto need a spark from somewhere. We've barely mentioned Agahawa in the second half. And here they come, Porto down the right-hand side. That's one for Gonzalo Borges to chase, and he will get there. Early cross left by Agahawa. Big opportunity here, but it just got away at the far post, and Ustari is able to gather. It was a first touch for William Gomez, who just came on. Agahawa left it in the middle for him, and his first touch was a poor one, and Ustari able to gather the ball.
Brilliant play from Borges again, just comes short to go long, making sure that he gets the ball into the box nice and early. Agahawa, I think, maybe should be taking a shot on, dummies it, and then William Gomez coming in at the far post. I don't think he really believed that he was going to get the ball. I don't think he really went there with enough intent, and then obviously just gets a little touch on it and goes through to Ustari. But again, it's really good play from Borges on this right hand side, who has had an impact by simply just getting the balls into the box.
That's the word, isn't it? Intent. He just didn't really have that conviction that he was going to have a chance there. It's worth bearing in mind, actually, 23% of the league goals Porto scored last season came after the 75th minute, and we're moving into that territory now, and they need a goal, because if they lose this game they'll have just 1 point from their first 2 matches. They'll face Al Ahly in the final game, but they would need a favour from elsewhere. They'd need to win and hope there was a loser in the game between Palmeiras and InterMiami.
And they both need a draw to go through, with Lionel Messi playing in the last game.
What are you suggesting, Perry?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just factually.
No, that's true.
Saying
right.
that they both need a draw to go through.
Yes.
With Lionel Messi playing in that game.
Forward by Suarez. You old cynic, you grow. Porto sweeper. Plenty of live games coming your way across the TalkSport network when it comes to the Club World Cup, including the game between Chelsea and Flamengo. That's tomorrow at 7. There's Agende trying to get the better of Marcano. And Marcano did well, swept up there. Yeah, we've got Chelsea against Flamengo on TalkSport 2. That's a TalkSport 2 exclusive tomorrow. Joe Shannon and the former Chelsea defender Scott Minto on the mic for that one. Now, early next week we've got Manchester City against Al Ain, and that's a TalkSport exclusive. The games that matter from the Club World Cup between now and the end of the tournament. Foul here on Frey, who managed to get himself in between the player and the ball, as he's done all evening long.
Yes, William Gomez on that left-hand side
has, actually given away the free kick.
It's actually refreshing. Both wingers, Borges on the right-hand side for Porto and William Gomez obviously on the left-hand side, are actually just getting to the full-back and trying to go on the outside. And what it does, it changes the angle completely of the rest of the back four, because they have to turn, they don't know what's been in behind them. So Frey just mistimed his tackle there, and William Gomez. So free kick for FC Porto in a very dangerous position.
It looked initially as though the way that he'd come into the challenge, he'd been the man that might get the decision, but it went the other way. Porto winning that free kick, and changes to come here, and we're going to see Jordi Alba, another of the Barcelona dad's army, to come on. It is remarkable, isn't it? Because if he comes on as he is doing now, and he's just come back from a hamstring injury, it'll be the first Club World Cup game they'll have all played together since 2015. They were all playing in this tournament, not in the same format. It was a smaller tournament then, but they were all playing together for Barcelona at the Club World Cup 10 years ago. And here they are again: Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi.
But I think from Xavier Mascherano's point of view, he's put in Jordi Alba on because he wants to get a bit of control of the game. So, because Porto have been dangerous in those wide areas. So obviously Jordi Alba, predominantly a left back.
Yeah, so Frey went in for that challenge to give away the free kick and hurt himself in the process. Is going to make way, and Agende is coming off as well, and they're going to bring on Fafa Picault, who came on as a sub in the first game and nearly scored actually with a downward header. And Jordi Alba gets a rousing reception from plenty of the crowd in Atlanta.
So Picault is entering the fray for Frey.
Yes, that's the second play on words tonight. Very good. So this is why he earns the big bucks.
I can cross that one off now.
Wordsmith extraordinaire. So here we go, free kick for Porto. It's just outside the penalty area on the left. What can they come up with here? Rodrigo Mora walking away from it. Fabio Vieira's there. Agahara on the edge of the 6-yard box. Played short. Rodrigo Mora with the curling shot. And it's wide of the target. I think it took a deflection on its way through. They worked that really smartly, Porto, but they couldn't find the finish.
Yep, just trying to change the angle. Just giving Rodrigo Mora that little bit of a chance on the edge of the 18-yard box. Gets your shot in. Slight deflection. Now Fabio Vieira has got to make sure that he misses the first man at the near post.
Raises his right arm, Fabio Vieira, on loan from Arsenal, the number 10. Here it comes, and again hits that near post, easily cleared. Also trying to keep it alive on the edge of the area with Francisco Moura, but it's the pink shirts who clear. And we're ticking towards the final 10 minutes here. This Group A clash in Atlanta. Fabio Vieira on the right for Porto, swinging ball into the penalty area. It'll bounce out to the left edge of the box. Gonzalo Borges drops the shoulder. Rodrigo Mora now skipping into the area, and he's crossed. He's headed wide of the target by Agahara. He was 8 yards out, the kind of chance he would have dreamt of, and he could not find the finish.
Agahara's got to make sure that he hits the target. Really good play from Rodrigo Mora. Just make sure he's just dinking the ball up, and Agahara losing his marker, get himself free, heads it downwards. Ustari then, I think, had a little bit of a panic up because he was quite flat-footed. I think he was relieved to see the ball just go agonisingly past his left-hand post from FC Porto's point of view.
Nearly 81 minutes gone at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This cavernous, modern venue. And that roof being closed has made a big difference. There is Gonzalo Borges for Porto down the inside right channel. The ball breaks to João Mario, edge of the area, but it's swept away. Excellent work on the edge of the penalty area by Noah Allen, who'd come in from left back to deal with the danger. And there's just a problem here for Luis Suarez, who's holding side of his face, the number 9.
I don't know, and I don't want to count my chickens before they've hatched, but I think he's going to be okay.
Is that natural cynicism bubbling over again?
Do you not think that reputation goes before you? Because you know full well, you look at players, and he's got the sort of weeping look on his face, and all it is a coming together. There's nothing there at all. So he goes down. He'll probably say that he's being very cute, because obviously he's taken the impetus out of the game, because FC Porto also need to get some momentum.
He's a competitor, Suarez, there's no doubt about that. 143 times he played for Uruguay. Of course, he represented Liverpool with distinction season in and season out.
I think he's the king of housery, shall we say.
I think that's the way you could put it.
And he's one of those players that when he's playing against you and he's in the opposition, you can't stand him and you moan and groan, but when he's in your team, you love the fact that he's what he can do.
The impressive Gonzalo Borges has just won a corner down the right, and Porto obtained it quickly, and the chance here for Gomez with the left foot shot, and it took a deflection on its way through, and it's going to be a corner. And those two wide players, William Gomez and Gonzalo Borges, have made a difference since coming on, and Porto having a purple patch here as InterMiami look to see this through. It'll be Fabio Vieira to race across and take the out-swinging corner, left-footed from the far side, the left, as we look at it. Agahawa wrestling on the edge of the area, played in towards Marcano, brilliant header away by Luis Suarez. He did so well there against Marcano. Now João Mario, little surge down the inside right channel, nice turn by Marcano, tried to play it for Rodrigo Moura, but he was asking a lot of the teenager there, and the ball skittered away from him for a goal kick for InterMiami, who are just 6.5 minutes plus stoppage time away from what would be a famous win. Of course, David Beckham so heavily involved in InterMiami's foundation and subsequent development as the co-owner, and they've made great strides. InterMiami did finish top of the regular season table with a record points tally last season. They were desperately disappointed to lose out in the first round of the playoffs. Something of an irony that one of their biggest results could come in this stadium, because it was against Atlanta United that they went out of the playoffs last season.
Well, this will be, in their short history, this will be the biggest victory in their short. This is why David Beckham obviously could see the appeal of InterMiami, and he could see, you know, what he could develop the team into, and he knows that you need these big wins to have statement victories.
And if it comes courtesy of a sparkling Messi free kick, all the better. Here comes William Gomez, the teenager, bursting into the area, and who's there to shut the door? Aviles, who's looked solid since coming on, just came across and with a minimum of fuss not only won the ball but took the free kick as well as he was caught. He's looked good since coming on, Aviles.
Yeah, he hasn't looked flustered whatsoever. He said it was William Gomez just breaking with the ball in that inside left position, and Aviles had to make sure that he didn't dive in, which he didn't. Just timed his tackle to perfection, and it's natural. What's going to happen is InterMiami are going to sit deeper, because they realise the significance of this result. You know, even in the stadium they'll realise the significance of the result. So it's only natural that they drop a little bit deeper. So it's imperative that Aviles and Falcon, the two InterMiami centre halves, that they have good communication between them. When the ball comes into the box, they've got to make sure that one of them's attacking it and the other one's covering.
Forward by Ustari. That's one for Pico to chase. Fafa Pico, who is a Haitian international. And he says that he should get a corner there, and he's going to get one. He pressured the defender, he didn't give that up, and Porto have ended up conceding the set piece.
Pico did really well. That's what you want. Fresh legs, chasing lost causes. Just making sure you don't give FC Porto an easy way out. It looked like the assistant referee on the far side wasn't really sure, Kev, I think, was he? He was just looking at it thinking, did it go out? Without? Yeah, it did, and it is the correct decision.
Marcano and Francisco Moura are coming off. Marcano's going to make way for Otavio. And the other change has seen Deniz Gül, who is a Turkish international striker, come on. And Francisco Moura going off. So they've thrown on a striker to try and save this game. Deniz Gül, who's only 20. But first, Messi's going to take this corner from the far side, the right, as we look at it. It goes short. And it's worked back out to Messi, tight to the right touchline. Live Club World Cup commentary on TalkSport 2. Inter Miami closing in on a famous win. Jordi Alba trying to race onto the ball on the right-hand side. But Porto able to clear, but not very far. Otavio unable to fully beat the press there. And the ball just spun out on that far side for a throw into Porto. 2.5 minutes of normal time to go in Atlanta. Inter Miami 2, Porto 1. Porto were 1-0 up at half-time. But goals from Segovia and Messi turn the game on its head. Porto's next game against Al Ahly. Inter Miami up against the Brazilian giants Palmeiras in what could be a straight shootout to see who wins Group A. Palmeiras beat Al Ahly 2-0 earlier today. William Gomez trying to advance down that left-hand side. But Pico doubling up with his defender there, helping out. They've worked so hard to try and preserve this advantage, the MLS side. It wouldn't just be a big boost for Inter Miami, it'd be a huge fillip for MLS as well. You get one of their teams beating a European giant, and that's what Porto are. Not perhaps the tastiest of vintages for Porto right now, but still with plenty of talent. And Inter Miami, having disappointed on opening night largely against Al Ahly, have been much better tonight after what was a shaky period in the first half. You said it, Perry, whatever Javier Mascherano said at half-time clearly worked.
Yep, they come out with a lot more intent at the beginning of the second half, so they got a lot closer to FC Porto in their faces, making sure they was engaging them when they was out of possession. But in possession, Busquets and Messi got a little bit closer together. And what they did, which they didn't do in the first half, when they had that domination, they actually took advantage of it. And obviously it was Segovia who got the brilliant equaliser. Then that gave the team and the supporters in the stadium a massive lift, and then we saw the magic of Messi.
Fabio Vieira's ball into Eustachio, lays it off, and Agahauer over the top. It was a tough chance, but it was a chance, and the best ones for Porto in this second half have fallen to him, and he hasn't been able to take them.
No, yes, they had a header like 5 minutes before we should be hitting the target. Fabio Vieira just easing the ball into the box, comes back to Agahauer, and he's got to make sure that his balance is better. He's got to make sure that he gets his knee over the top of the ball, and again, worst ways out, he hits the target and just smashed it over the crossbar.
There's a nervous murmur among the Inter Miami fans because the board's just gone up for the amount of stoppage time. 7 minutes we are going to have, and Inter Miami know what separates them from a big win on the global stage. And tournament like this, which has been newly expanded, which is one that hasn't quite caught everybody's imagination. Tournament like that needs moments, and it's certainly got one with that Leo Messi free kick, which has put them in front. If that proves to be the winning goal, that's a story that can be told all around the world, and that is what FIFA want. It's what Inter Miami want.
I think Mr. Infantino will be sitting in the director's box. His Messi didn't get down quickly enough to the fourth official with the 7 minutes.
Ball is loose here on the edge of the Inter Miami penalty area, and they gave it away cheaply there. Groans from the Inter Miami fans, and Moura trying to advance down the left-hand side, runs down to Broom. He's had some really eye-catching moments, Rodrigo Moura, in this game, but it could be part of a losing cause. Long throw from the left for Porto towards Agahauer. He gets the flick on, it breaks loose, and the shot was hit with real venom and was well blocked. It was William Gomez who had the effort, really caught it sweetly on his left foot, but Inter Miami had enough pink shirts back there to preserve their leads. Messi finds Busquets, and this is where the quality does make a difference. That calm from Busquets, the calm from Messi to keep the ball in dangerous moments where you need to manage the game. Well, how many times have Busquets and Alba and Suarez and Messi been able to do that down the years? InterMiami won a free kick, they're not going to get one. It was Redondo who went down, but Porto have the chance to bring it forward, but they're running out of time, the Portuguese giants. The Dragons need to breathe fire and they need to do it now, but it's a really poor ball out to the left, wayward, and goes out for an InterMiami throw, and they will take their time.
Well, Javier Mascherano, the Inter-Miami manager, has gone into basically a flat back five, with Alan just going a little bit more central, Jordi Alba on that left-hand side. And we see there, man of the match. Didn't take a lot of working out, Kev, really did, to be fair.
That Messi fella, he's won a few of those down the years. Although he might not be Perry's man of the match, you'll have to wait for that. Perry might go rogue, who knows. Here is Moura, left edge of the penalty area, Rodrigo Moura, and he twisted and he turned and suddenly found that he was closed down. And InterMiami tried to play the long ball to Messi, and Messi, with the best will in the world, was never going to catch up to that. So Pedro brings it out from the back for Porto. 3.5 minutes left to save them from what would be a damaging defeat in Atlanta. Gonzalo Borges, twisting, turning, looking for space, lays it off. Otavio with a left foot shot, he hit that, but blocked by Jordi Alba. If Porto lose this, their fate is out of their hands. A draw on the final match day between InterMiami and Palmeiras would leave them with their faces pressed up against the glass. There'd be nothing they could do, but here come Porto. Left edge of the penalty area. William Gomez gets the cross in, it's too close to Ustari, who's able to stretch up above his head and make that claim. And he goes to ground. And InterMiami breathe a collective sigh of relief.
Yeah, he's looked really lively, William Gomez, on that left-hand side. Again, gone on the outside of Kamashny this time. Just needs to dink it a little bit higher. Good goalkeeping from Ustari, who was outstanding, obviously, in the first game against El Ali. Obviously, get Inter Milan their 0-0 draw. And you have to say, you said he's 38, isn't he, Ustari?
Ustari, yeah.
Yeah. He's just looked very composed, you know, as a goalkeeper, especially if you've got young players in front. Obviously, Frey's gone off at the moment, like young player playing at centre-half. If you've got a goalkeeper who's a calm assurance behind you, that spreads itself through the back five. It's the back five at the moment, obviously, for InterMiami, because they're sitting a little bit deeper with Jordi Alba coming on. But he just looks very, very calm.
He made 3 appearances for Sunderland many moons ago, Oscar Ustari. 2 minutes of stoppage time to go. InterMiami close to a famous win that would propel them towards the last 16. It's pumped long by Otavio for Porto. Down the left-hand side, the far side as we look at it. But again, Busquets is there just to sweep up, do the dirty work in there. But Fabio Vieira nutmegs one player and then got delusions of grandeur. Tried to play the ball with the outside of his boot and it went straight out of play.
Jordi Alba was really experienced. Why is he like jogging after the ball, like, sort of a half pace? Just have a little Leslie stroll. You're not in any hurry to take the throw in.
Final minute of stoppage time. Played through the middle. It might run loose here for Pico. Pico turns, left foot shot, great save. Claudio Ramos. I think they were just waiting. Seemed to stop there, Porto. Pico made the space for the shot. Here's Messi. Can he finish it? Into the area, away from 2. But the angle was tight. Ramos able to make the save. The ball spins behind for a corner. And Porto are getting that sinking feeling because they know they're running out of time.
Yeah, it was a great little ball on the outside, his right foot from Sergio Busquets to Lionel Messi. Just had a little check, see if he was offside, comes to Tico, really good check back, big save from Claudio Ramos, then comes to Leo Messi, tries to go on the outside, and the angle's just too acute for him to try and dink it over Claudio Ramos.
Jordi Alba will take his time. We're beyond the 7 minutes here. Inter Miami 2-1 up against Porto, having had to come from behind. And it is all over.